He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow Him.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Laila Nasheeba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel SunnahFollowers.
Tonight we're going to review combining the two prayers. And before I get into that, I want to just ask you a couple of questions just to make sure that everyone understands the hadiths that we went over, because again, our understanding of this religion is supposed to be as those original companions. When it comes to matters of worship, when it comes to matters of belief, our understanding of those issues should be as the original companions. If it's not, then something's wrong with us. We're not upon the correct understanding. So let's look at this first question here. And we talked about it. How far of a distance is mentioned by Allah or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for one to travel in order to shorten his or her prayers? Again, and the reason why I asked this question is because only Allah and the Prophet Muhammad have the authority to make the laws and rules for us to abide by, not the scholars. Everybody claims that they are a scholar today. Everybody claims to be people who are muftis. Nobody has that authority but Allah and the Prophet. Unless you are Allah, which you ain't, or the Prophet Muhammad, which you ain't, you don't have the authority to make laws for us. So, who can tell me how far of a distance is mentioned by Allah or by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that a person must travel in order to be able to shorten their prayers? Who can answer that? No questions on YouTube? What about Facebook? Do I have any people? Where are Laila Nasheeba's so-called students? Where's my Zoom students at? Is there anybody in that Zoom room? Yeah, my students, I don't know where they been, man. They partying. I don't know. Do any of Laila's Nasheeba students in that Zoom room know? How far of a distance is mentioned by Allah or the Prophet to travel in order to shorten? Okay, some of the answers I have here on social media. Brother Amir, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Amir. Brother Amir says longer than 1 mile is mentioned by Allah or the Prophet. Sister Carol, mashallah, she said 1 mile or more. And Aya said 1 to 3 miles. Go ahead, Zoom.
One mile, I agree with the first two people. Should be 1 mile over, yeah.
Okay, any other answers before I give the correct answer? None of your answers are correct. Can anybody figure out why all your answers are wrong? The question is, how far of a distance is mentioned by Allah or by the Prophet that you have to travel to shorten the prayers? The correct answer is Allah doesn't mention a distance at all. We went over that verse yesterday. Remember, Allah just says when you travel, you can shorten your prayers. Okay? And the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, didn't mention a certain distance either. So that's the first point that I made yesterday. I want you guys to know no one has the authority to make laws or rules for us other than Allah and the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And neither one of them mentioned a distance. This is point number one. So, and the reason I made this point is because nowadays we're living in the days of fitan, where the religion has become strange, where you have a lot of ruwaybida. Who are the ruwaybida? These are the men and women that call themselves people of knowledge, and they don't know nothing. They got a lot to say about politics, a lot to say about this, a lot to say about that. But if you were to ask them how far of a distance is mentioned by Allah or the Prophet to travel and shorten, they don't know. They'll say anything but accept the truth that they don't know, which is Allah doesn't give us a distance. Neither did the Prophet. And again, this is the hikmah of Allah. Allah did not make this religion hard on any of us. Allah didn't give us a distance because he knows that everyone's situation is different. No one understands the creation better than the creator. Again, this falls under Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Most Muslims today do not understand the lordship of Allah. Okay? So they didn't give us a distance, not Allah and not the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now let's go to the second question. Second question. What? I hope I got some moderators around. If I don't, I'm going to be so angry. Okay. What is the least amount of distance mentioned by the companions that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was known to shorten his prayers?
Oh, that's where the mile comes in. Okay. That's my answer.
So what is your answer?
One is more than a mile.
Okay, Anissa said more than a mile. Any other answers?
I said anytime you leave your place of residence, as far as in that you do not live there.
Okay, who said that? Remember, look at the question. What is the least amount of distance mentioned by the companions that the Prophet was known to shorten his prayers? I went over so many hadiths yesterday, about 20 of them, where you had different companions telling you what they witnessed, how far they traveled, and they witnessed the Prophet shortening. What was the least amount of distance? Okay, Carol said 1 mile. Any other answers? Okay, Carol and Anissa, you are correct. The least distance that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was seen to travel and shorten his prayers was 1 mile. Remember that authentic hadith? That's a Sahih Bukhari hadith. In fact, the companion who narrated it, he said the Prophet, the reason he said he never saw the Prophet shorten his prayer, and I think this was Anas who was like the stepson to the Prophet. Anas said he never saw the prophet shorten his prayer less than 1 mile? He said, because the prophet used to do what? Who can remember? What did he do that was less than a mile? And he didn't shorten his prayer when he did it. Can y'all remember that hadith? You people are going to have to memorize these hadiths when I give them to you. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck on stupid. Can anybody remember that hadith? That's the last hadith we went over. And I told you guys, never forget it. Good job, Aya. The Anas tells us that the least amount of distance that he saw the prophet, that he witnessed the prophet to shorten the prayers was 1 mile. He said because the prophet used to visit the cemetery, El Baqi. Y'all remember that hadith now? And he would also go to answer the call of nature. And to do those things was less than a mile. He said he never saw the prophet shorten when he went to answer the call of nature. He never saw the prophet shorten when he went to the cemetery. But if the prophet traveled a mile away from his home, he would shorten. Y'all have to remember these hadiths. Until you people remember the hadiths, you're gonna be twisted. You're not gonna have the certainty of faith. You're gonna get easily confused by people because mathabs have their own different views on this stuff. Mathabs tell you you gotta travel a certain distance, when the prophet never said that. Allah never said that. But the companions had different things to say about it because of what they witnessed. 1 mile, some witnessed him traveling 3 miles, some witnessed him traveling 5 miles, but the most authentic hadith, which is the least amount of distance, is 1 mile from Anas, I believe, radiyallahu anha. Any questions on this answer? Is this answer clear to you all? Mina, will you make yourself remember that hadith this term?
Yeah, I remember, but I was thinking about the companion that had left, and he had said his prayers before, but I got it mixed up. But
no, I wanted to know. We went over about 20 hadiths. I wanted to know the least distance. The question was the least distance. And the least distance, you can find hadith saying all kind of miles, but the least mile was 1 mile. And he said he never, because the cemetery and the place where they used the bathroom was less than a mile, and he never shortened then. Exactly. Good job, Aya. Aya, you did a good job. You remembered the hadith. You guys got to remember these hadiths. Otherwise, you're going to always be picked on, abused by these Mathabians. Because the Mathabians got different views on that stuff. All right, let's look at the next question. According to the companions, and the reason why I'm saying according to the companions, because again, Allah didn't give us a distance. The Prophet Muhammad didn't give us a distance. Okay? Allah left it open because we all have different situations. And I'm going to talk about that today because a person can shorten and combine based on different situations. Okay? But the understanding that we have based on the companions is what we want to stick to, because they were with the prophet and this is what they use after he died. You know, when they would travel, they would remember, well, he used to combine just 1 mile, so I can combine 2, or I can shorten 2. And that's how we should think. So according to the companions of the prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how long can a traveling person continue to I meant to say shorten. I put combine there, but it should be shorten. Scratch the word combine out, guys. That should be shortened. Because I got confused doing the PowerPoint. According to the companions of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how long can a traveling person continue to shorten his or her prayers? And again, Mathab's got all kind of answers. But whose answer is correct? The companions. So who can answer that? According to the companions of the Prophet, the originals, how long can a traveling person continue to to shorten his or her prayers?
According to the companions, those prayers can be shortened as long as that person is traveling and know that they're traveling. If they feel that they're not traveling, if they feel settled, then they can go ahead and make the regular salats. But as long as they are traveling, they can continue to shorten those prayers.
Okay, what do y'all think about her answer? Okay, same answer here. Aya says as long as he is a traveler. She says some of the companions travel for months, some even years. Exactly. We have Sa'id al-Khudri. Sa'id al-Khudri, when he traveled to Syria, he shortened his prayer for 2 years. The whole 2 years he was there. And Sa'id al-Khudri narrated more hadiths than anyone except for Aisha radiallahu anha and Abu Hurairah. He's the third most narrator. Okay, he's one of the eminent companions. He knows his deen better than you and me, better than the 4 Imams, better than Albani, better than Sheikh Morsi, better than Uthaymin. May Allah bless all them brothers. Those my dudes. They ain't here no more, unfortunately. Allah. Better than Ibn Taymiyyah, better than all of them. He did it for 2 years. As long as the person is not settled, as long as the person is not settled. And again, Allah didn't give us a time limit. Neither did the Prophet, because everybody's situation is different. You could be living out of a suitcase for 2 years. If your job sends you on an assignment, your job sends you overseas on an assignment, puts you up in a hotel. Living in a hotel is hard. You living out of a suitcase for 2 years so you can shorten your prayers the whole time. But now let's say that I go to stay with my sister. I go to the Emirates to stay with my sister for 2 years. I'm settled. I got my own suite. I'm settled. Okay, I can go ahead and start praying the whole prayer. Yes, Imam Ahmed was the one that said 4 days. That's what he said. Okay, but does Imam Ahmed, may Allah be pleased with him, does he out-trump Sa'id al-Khudri? No. Does he out-trump Ibn Abbas? Ibn Abbas said as long as the person's a traveler, even if it's for over 3-4 months. Ibn Umar, he shortened his prayer for 6 months. Ibn Umar traveled and shortened for 6 months. So does Imam Ahmed understand this deen better than Ibn Abbas? Better than Ibn Umar? Better than Sa'id al-Khudri? No. So this is what I'm saying, guys. When we learn the religion the correct way from the proper sources, which is the Quran, the authentic hadith, and we have to have the understanding of the companions, then you will see that Islam is beautiful. You will see that Islam is simple. Islam is easy. I have a brother here who's a new Shahada. He's going out the country. His job is sending him to Africa during the month of Ramadan. He's going to be in Africa for a whole month, staying in a hotel. And that's where this question came from. He said, Sister Laila, I'll be living in a hotel out of my suitcase for a whole month. Can I shorten my prayers? Yes. SubhanAllah, you're not settled. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. You have to be careful who you take your knowledge of Islam from. And a lot of the new Shahadas are telling me that because everything is clicking, everything is making sense, the Muslims around them who don't know the religion correctly are calling them fanatic, telling them, oh, you're learning from the wrong person. No, you're learning from the right person. They learned from the wrong person. Don't let these people intimidate you. That's why I tell y'all, take screenshots of those hadiths. And when I put all those hadiths up yesterday, y'all were supposed to screenshot them and print them out and memorize them. And I always put the source with them. And only an idiot would call those hadiths not authentic. All right? Because they all came from Bukhari and Muslim. All right? Okay, now, tonight we're going to get to another shocker for the Mathabians. We're going to speak about combining. When can I combine my prayers? Big question. It comes up all the time. Also, Ramadan is coming up. End of this week. A lot of you may find yourself in a situation where you have to combine your prayers. Not shorten, but you may fall in the category of being able to combine your prayers. And let's look at this. And I want you guys to take screenshots and print the PowerPoints out so you will have those hadiths. It is allowed for a person to combine. Wait, first let me do this. When we speak about combining the prayers, the only prayers we combine are Dhuhr and Asr. Listen to this. Dhuhr is combined with Asr. Or you can combine Maghrib with Isha. You cannot do Isha and Fajr together. Nope. You cannot do Fajr and Dhuhr together. Nope. So what we're doing is we're combining Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha. Those are the prayers that are combined together. Okay, Fajr is always by itself. Remember that. Fajr is by itself. And we can combine under the following circumstances. And again, guys, the first circumstance, you may not have to worry about unless you make Hajj. All the scholars agree. That means all the companions, they all agree that you can combine the Dhuhr and Asr prayer at Arafat when making Hajj. And you can also combine Maghrib and Isha at Muzdalifah when you make Hajj. Because this is what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. So whenever you make Hajj, whoever your group leader is, he's going to probably do that. I know when I made Hajj, they did. We know the Dhuhr and Asr was done together at Arafat and Isha and Maghrib together at Muzdalifah. Okay? And I want you guys to understand, you do not have to be a traveler. I repeat, you do not have to be a traveler. I repeat again, you do not have to be a traveler to combine your prayers. Okay? Other circumstances may occur, and that's what we're going to talk about here. And if you are a traveler, like say, for example, I'm traveling out of town, like the brother's going to Africa, not only can he shorten his prayer while he's in Africa, but he can also combine them too. You understand, brother Bilal? When you go to Africa and you're staying in that hotel for your job, not only can you shorten the 4 rakat prayers, but you can also pray Dhuhr and Asr together. And you can also pray Maghrib and Isha together if you are a traveler as well. Now, here comes the Dalil. Muad, may Allah be pleased with him. He tells us that while the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was at Tabuk and the sun had passed the meridian, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined the Dhuhr and Asr prayers before he started his journey. So what does that tell you? Say, for example, I'm getting ready to travel. I'm traveling from my home to Latifa's home. Latifa lives an hour away from me. That's more than 1 mile, man. I don't live in her city. Her place of habit is not my residence. I can combine my Dhuhr and Asr before I leave my house, which is what I did. When I went to the dinner event that my other best friend had at her house, and she's an hour and a half away from me, I combined my Dhuhr and Asr. I prayed Dhuhr and Asr Saturday before I left. I combined them. And that's based right here on this hadith. The Prophet combined the Dhuhr and Asr prayers before he started his journey. Now, if he started his journey before the sun passed its meridian, he would delay the Dhuhr prayer until he stopped for the Asr. And he did likewise for the Maghrib. What does that mean? Not only can I pray Asr after with Dhuhr, but what I could have done, I could have waited till I got to my best friend's house and prayed Dhuhr with Asr. You guys understand that? When you're combining 2 prayers, I can pray them before I leave, which means I'm going to pray the prayer that's in first and then the one that comes after it with it, or I can wait till I get to my destination and then pray the first one and then the one that's in. Does everybody understand that? And this hadith is authentic. There's the source. Also another hadith. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. He said, shall I not tell you of the prayer of the Prophet when he was traveling? He said, if the sun passed its meridian while he stopped, he would combine the Dhuhr and Asrs before moving on. But if the sun had not passed its meridian while he had stopped, he would travel until the time of the Asr prayer and then combine the Dhuhr and Asr. And if the sun set while he had stopped, he would combine the Maghrib and the Isha prayers. If that did not occur while he stopped, he would ride and combine the Isha time. This hadith is authentic. There's the sources. Take a screenshot of this PowerPoint. So you guys have these hadiths you can memorize and their correct sources. Okay? So if you're traveling on a journey, you can combine your prayers before you leave. You pray Dhuhr and Asr together, or you can wait till you get to your destination and pray Dhuhr and Asr together. The same with Maghrib and Isha. Any questions about that before I continue? Because this can get kind of confusing. Is this clear to everybody in the Zoom room?
Laila, when you combine them, you don't shorten them.
No, this is not short. Not in this case. This is not. If you can combine when you shorten too. If I'm a traveler, like say for example, I'm the brother that's gonna be in Africa. He's gonna be in Africa. Brother Bilal's gonna be there for a whole month for his job, doing some communication stuff. Not only can he shorten Dhuhr and Asr, but he can also combine them together. Pray them together. Now remember the hadith that we went over yesterday. They said normally, the companions all said normally they did not shorten the prayer when they were at home. Okay? They would combine but not shorten, like me. If I'm going to travel from my house to Latifah's house, I'm not going to shorten because I'm a resident. I mean, I'm settled. But what I'm going to do is combine Dhuhr and Asr together. Now, if I got to Latifah's house, if something comes up and it's easier for me to shorten and combine, then I would do that. But I'm at home. There's no need for me to shorten a prayer when I'm in my house at home. Do you understand? Does that make sense? When I set out on my journey, I'm combining. I'm not shortening because I'm at home. But once I'm out in the streets and on the journey, I can shorten then because I'm not settled. I'm not at home. I'm a shorten and combine. Is that clear to everybody? And that's how the companions normally did it. They normally did not shorten when they were in there at home. They would do it on the road. Okay? Okay, Sister Aya, we don't pray the prayers together. You make Dhuhr and then you make Asr. Common sense. You call the Iqamah and make Dhuhr. When you're done with Dhuhr, you call the Iqamah and make Asr. Because Asr and Dhuhr is not one prayer. They're two different prayers. Everybody understand that? I'm going to call the Iqamah and make my Maghrib. Then when I'm done with Maghrib, I'm going to call the Iqamah and make my Isha. Everybody understand? Brother Amir, if I travel across the world and need to adjust to the time. Well, if you miss Fajr because you were sleeping, that's a different scenario. You make Fajr as soon as you wake up, but you're not combining Fajr with no prayers. You understand? If you wake up and it's time for Dhuhr, but you overslept for Fajr, you're going to make Fajr first, and then you're going to call the Adhan and make Dhuhr, but that's not combining. That's missing a prayer because you were asleep. If you were not asleep, then you should have made Fajr at its proper time. Everybody understand that? Any other questions before I move on? The only excuse for not praying a prayer at its proper time is sleep or forgetfulness. If you were awake, why did you miss Fajr? Okay. If you were asleep and woke up, make Fajr first and then go make whatever prayer is in. Okay. So everybody clear? I can move to the next point. All right. Yes. Let me do it one more time for you, Sister Melinda. I'm reading your question. Yes. Exactly. So if you're going to be leaving Arlington, Texas, you're leaving Arlington, Texas, and you're traveling to Houston, Texas, you can combine your Dhuhr and Asr. You pray your 4 rakats Dhuhr, then you call the Iqamah and pray your 4 rakats Asr and leave. Then when you get to Houston, Texas, you can combine your Maghrib and your Isha. Exactly. Exactly. But don't shorten when you in the house to leave, because we went over that hadith. The companions didn't normally do that. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said we normally didn't do that. We normally didn't shorten while we were praying in the house at home. Okay? All right. Good job. Let's go to the next point. Y'all got your screenshots. Okay. So, traveling is one of the reasons in which a person is allowed to combine their prayers and also shorten. What about the rain? We have this hadith combining the Maghrib and the Isha prayer when it rains is a sunnah. This is what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would do. Imam Bukhari records that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam combined the Maghrib and Isha prayers on a rainy night. Does it have to just be rain? No. Anytime the weather is bad, so that the men don't have, cause praying at the mosque, performing your obligatory prayers at the mosque is an obligation for the men, not women. Men are supposed to pray all 5 of their prayers at the mosque. So if there's a blizzard, say it's snowing real bad, the imam can combine the prayers. He can combine the prayers so the brothers don't have to worry about trying to come in that snowstorm back to the mosque. Okay? Yes, it can be Dhuhr and Asr. Again, it's a storm. It's a snowstorm, or it's a rainstorm, or it's a hurricane. The imam can combine Dhuhr with Asr. So that way the brothers don't have to worry about coming back. Or Maghrib with Isha, due to the weather. So that's another reason for combining bad weather. Okay? Now, this is what the point I want to make with my sisters, elderly women here. You can also combine your prayers due to sickness. I had a sister text me on WhatsApp today, talking about how sick she is. She has the flu. She has type A flu, the same type my daughter got. Type A flu, and this type A flu is supposed to be pretty bad. They say it's worse than COVID. She said, Sister Laila, I'm so delirious. I don't know if I prayed or not. What can I do? I told her, combine. You can combine Dhuhr with Asr. And you can combine Maghrib with Isha. And notice, I didn't say shorten. You're at home. You can combine, not shorten. There may be exceptions to the shorten too, but most of us don't really fall into that. Okay, but you can combine Dur with Asr and Maghrib with Isha because of sickness. I did it too. And again, there's no time limit. It's all while you're sick. When I had my total knee replacement surgery, I combined my prayers for 6 months because I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand on that knee. And it was easier for me. So I did combining for 6 months when I had both of my knees done. I had total knee replacement in both knees. I combined my prayers for 6 months. Okay. You got the flu. You're sick for RSV. I got one sister here who's an elderly sister. She had RSV. RSV, you can die from that, man, if you elderly. I told her, combine all your prayers. So she combined for over a month with that RSV. See how Allah makes it easy for us. Allah makes this deen so easy. And where's the dalil? Well, here we go. I'm always going to give y'all the clear evidence. Hold on, let me go here so I can read it for myself. Again, whenever a person is going through an illness, because an illness is a hardship. It's a hardship just like the rain. You can combine your prayers. And here's the dalil, as Imam Nawawi put, this is the strongest opinion based on evidence. Also, we have this as evidence, the illness, which presents one to combine the prayers, is the one which would otherwise cause a hardship and more weakness, like RSV, like the flu. You get weaker. You're so weak. You got fever. Okay, COVID. You're feverish. You're weak. You can combine. Okay, combine your four rock, the Dhuhr with Asr and Maghrib with Isha. Okay. Also, and here it is from my elderly sisters too, not just a sickness, not just traveling. You can combine the two prayers due to any, I repeat, any pressing need. Let me share another example with you guys. Another one of my students called me on the WhatsApp today. She said, Sister Laila, I work 16-hour shifts. She said, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. And when I come home, if I make Dhuhr, I'm not going to wake up in time for Asr. She said, I keep missing Asr. I don't wake up to Isha. What can I do? I told her, combine, because your body is tired. You done pulled 16-hour shifts as a nurse. You're tired. So you can combine Dhuhr and Asr. And then when you wake up for Isha, do Maghrib and Isha. That's a pressing need. Listen to what Imam Nawawi wrote in Sahih Muslim. He said the majority of the scholars think that it is allowed for a person who is a resident to combine the prayers due to any pressing need. And this is based on the companions. Okay? So here's Ibn Abbas. Listen to what Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said. He said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined his prayer because he did not want to put his ummah to any hardship. And it was not because of an illness. He just did it because he wanted to make it easy for the people. This is Sahih Muslim. Ibn Abbas says the Prophet combined the Dhuhr and Asr prayer. And then he led the Maghrib and combined it with Isha in Medina. He said there was no rain. There was no danger. And then somebody said, well, why did he do it? He said he did it because he did not want a hardship for his people. We also have this from Sahih Muslim. One day, Ibn Abbas addressed the people after the Asr prayer until well after the sun had set and the stars appeared. The people said to him, "Oh, Ibn Abbas, the prayer, the prayer." Ibn Abbas said, "Are you trying to teach me the Sunnah?" He said, "I saw the Prophet combine Dhuhr and Asr, and he combined Maghrib with Isha." And another companion said, "I felt unsure about what he said. So I went to ask Abu Huraira for more clarification, and he said, Ibn Abbas has spoken the truth." So the Prophet was given a lecture one day, like Ibn Abbas was doing. In fact, the lecture that the Prophet was given, he was talking about the signs of the last hour. And he went on talking about the signs of the last hour, and he combined Maghrib with Isha. That's the hadith, and you'll find that in Bukhari. And this is what Ibn Abbas did, that's narrated here in Sahih Muslim. He was talking to the people about something important. And remember, Ibn Abbas was the governor. He was the governor of Medina. And he was telling the people something very important. And the people kept saying, the prayer, the prayer. He said, "We'll combine. I know the Sunnah. We'll combine because this is a pressing need." And for those of you who don't know, the pressing need was Ramadan. This is when Ibn Abbas was the governor over Medina. And this is after the fitna had emerged. The fitna, whereas the Kharijites were trying to, had killed Uthman. Okay? This is when Muawiyah had appointed himself as the Caliph of Syria. And they was talking about the moon, the sighting of the moon, because Muawiyah had sent the message saying that he had seen the moon for Ramadan. But Ibn Abbas decided to go with a local sighting because he knew if he had accepted Muawiyah's sighting, the people would have thought he was supporting him over Ali. So that's the conversation that Ibn Abbas was having with the people. And it was so important. He needed to explain why he was not going with a world sighting, while he was going with a local sighting. And by the way, he only did it that one time. What you Muslims are doing today, looking for local sightings, that is not from the Sunnah. And Ibn Abbas said, this is not from the Sunnah, but I'm going to do Ijtihad because I do not want you people to think that I am choosing Muawiyah over Ali. Because Ibn Abbas refused to take sides in that fitna. So that's the story behind that. A lot of people don't know that because you don't know the hadith. I do. So you can combine the two prayers due to a pressing need. So like the sister that called me today, she works 16 hours. And every time she works 16 hours, she misses 3 prayers combined. When you get home, do Dhuhr and Asr. Go to sleep. When you wake up for Isha, do Maghrib and Isha. Allah makes it easy for us. That's a pressing need. Okay? And finally, again, on the airplane, if you're traveling on an airplane, traveling on a ship, a train, a bus, you know, this is an inconvenience. That's a pressing need too. So you can pray. You can pray and combine your prayers on the plane. Combine your prayers on the boat, on the train. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I asked the Prophet about prayer on a ship. He said, pray standing unless you fear that you will be drowned. Okay, as you guys know, we can't stand no more to pray. Thanks to the terrorists of 9/11, you stand up, you going down. You ain't got to worry about the ship taking you down. If Layla's sitting there, she gonna take you down. I ain't gonna be blown up. Okay, we got crazy people. And also we have this hadith where another companion says, I accompanied Jabir ibn Abdullah and Sa'id al-Khudri and Abu Hurairah on a boat. They prayed standing in congregation with one of them as their imam, although they could have gone to shore if they wanted to. Okay, so I just threw that in there too. Hello. So that's all that we have from the companions about combining and shortening the prayer.